Hello, hola, bienvenidos. Welcome back. As you guys can see, today we're doing the Q&A video that I had asked you guys if you had any questions for me about anything. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I haven't really put on my makeup on camera, so I wanted to just go chill, have a chill video, answer your questions, enjoy the panning products that I do have. My kids have a doctor's appointment today, so I'm going to try to keep it not so vibrant because I have to wear a mask, and then my face starts to break out because I get sweaty and stuff because it's so hot. So I'm just trying to think about that in the future. So if you're interested in seeing this Q&A, stay tuned. But first, if you're new, Alejandra. I go by Alex, eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash for Japan. If you want to continue to see that kind of content on your feed, subscribe and join us. And now let's get on with this Q&A. All right, I zoomed you guys in a little bit. I have my questions here. There's quite a bit of them, so I'm going to try to just go from the first one all the way up to the latest one. If I don't get to it, I'll do my best to try to answer them some way, shape, or form. But I'm just going to go with the flow. Anything that I put on my face will be down in the description box because I am not really showing you guys a tutorial, you know what I mean? I'm just here for the questions. So we're just going to go with the flow. So as I'm doing my makeup, I'll answer them. First question that I have is, who are your favorite beauty YouTubers and why? So lately these days, I feel like I'm sorry, my face is so white because I officially confirmed that I am allergic, like my skin is allergic to chemical sunscreen. So I have to wear mineral sunscreen. So it's always going to be a white cast on my face, regardless of what I do. So anyway, my favorite YouTubers and why. At this point in my life, I love to watch anybody who is more of conscious of their purchases. I'm not someone who watches somebody who does new makeup all the time. I watch somebody who has a good balance of videos, whether it's panning videos or videos that are creative using their own makeup collection. Not so much anyone who is always buying. I can't, because that'll bring me down the rabbit hole, and I can care less about the newest things. Honestly, lately, these days, I just don't care about the latest makeup. Unless it's something that I myself have seeked out and looked for, I am not really looking for new makeup. So I don't have anybody specific that I could say per se. I love the panning community. I love the community that is very thoughtful about their purchases. I love the community that doesn't mind buying new makeup, but it's not excessive. I don't mind seeing somebody who buys makeup, because I buy myself new makeup, but it can't be in excessive where every video is like trying on new makeup or look at my latest makeup that I just bought, that kind of stuff. I can't do that. If you could go back to your younger self starting in YouTube, what advice would you give yourself? Honestly, is don't fall for the hype. Don't fall for the hype. Do your own research and really think about if it's things that'll work for you. Because I feel like everyone gives the advice of be yourself, do your thing, whatever. But I'm giving it as a answer to a viewer and a content creator. Just do your own research and, do your own homework. Don't fall for the hype. Whether it's a video or a person or makeup. It's just, I could have saved myself a lot of money. And I already knew what I liked, but then I fell for the hype because I thought that's what would grow me. And it did not. I know this is a lot of cream bronzer, you guys, but I do this because I don't buy foundations for the summer for me. I just use a cream bronzer, and this cream bronzer dries down matte, which helps tremendously. So it mixes well with my foundation. So don't worry. I do this for a reason, because my foundation is my winter color and I needed to match my darkness right now. So don't fret. It's a little trick by the way that I use is, instead of buying more foundations, because I don't like to have a lot of foundations, I just use a cream or liquid bronzer to help with darkening up my foundations. See how white that is? That ain't my color right now. All right, next question. What's an OG product you still love, would love to have again? Ooh, this is a good one. Ooh, I will say, you guys, that when I use things up, I rarely feel like I need to repurchase them, or rarely feel like I need to have them back in my life. Once I use something up, I'm so satisfied with the length of time it took me to use it up that I don't feel like I need to have it again in my life. I've noticed that. Like things that I've absolutely loved, I'm just like, eh. But I will say, OG product though, I don't know. I don't necessarily have anything because I feel like a lot of makeup has become a lot better, just not in the sense of it being preserved longer, because I feel like the newer makeup expires quicker than the OG makeup. But what would I like? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think there's anything really. What could I possibly want? The only thing I could think of that I loved, that I really, really loved, were the Nars liquid blushes that I panned. Those are beautiful, and I wouldn't mind having one shade again in my collection because they were really, really nice, especially all on their own. But I don't think they have those anymore, at least not all the colors that I had and I really enjoyed. But that's what I would say, because I don't think there's anything OG that I would want again. I can't at least think about it. It might discontinue things, yes, but not OG things that I had. How do you manage YouTube, your work, taking care of the family? You guys, I've answered this a ton because I started out YouTube working full time. So it wasn't like I don't know what it is to balance a life, like a family life, a job, and YouTube. It all comes down to time management. You gotta plan, manage your time. A planner always helps me, so then I can plan out my videos and look at the time, see if my kids have any activities, events, or things that I need to attend, check with Mr. Man to see if he has any activities, events, so then I could plan around timing and days that I know I can get everything done, because if I don't, you guys, I'd be put last. Everyone else's priority in this household. I'm mainly the person that's last, so I always try to make this a priority because I don't want to let my YouTube channel just go, because this is my time. So I would say you have to plan, you have to be organized, you have to keep up with it. Like I sit down every Sunday evening and look at my calendar, make sure I have everything set for that week. If I need to plan ahead, I will do that. If I need to film ahead, I will do that. It's all planning. If I don't, it won't work for me. I've tried it and I get frustrated. I get upset because no one else is going to look out for this except for me. So I have to make sure that I make time for it. And I love to make time for it. It's not like it's a chore. I just have to make sure that it works around my schedule and I'm not taken away from anything. And believe me, my kids are so active that, like, currently right now they're sleeping. It's early in the morning. I woke up early to do this because if not, they'd be taking up my time. So I always make sure that I give myself the time, even if it's waking up early or staying up late. All right, how do you use up your project pan items so fast, especially powder products? Please give us some tips and tricks. I love your project pan videos, especially pan that palette. Well, you guys want me to give you my secrets? You guys, there is no secrets. It's just what I will tell you is in the summer, I use more powder because I need to. In the winter, I try to use a lot more creamy bases because I can get away with it. As far as my skin tone, I know my skin tone and I know what I can use quickly and what I can't use quickly. Lipsticks are not a thing for me, so I know I can't pan those. But as far as powder products, I also feel like the brush you use does help. I know that may sound like, ooh, yeah, but it does. The brush you use will help because a scratchier brush will pick up more product, will kick up more powder. A softer brush will not do so much damage to the product, you know what I mean? So it all depends on the actual formula and what brush you use. It's from my experience. And I am somebody who will layer products, but I don't layer them in excess. Like I see some people like pound the makeup on just to use things up. I really don't. I just do my thing. I don't know. Maybe it's the way my heavy hand. I don't know. I do buff everything in at the end so then nothing looks like it's too much. And that may be the reason why. But it all depends on if you're heavy-handed or not and what brush you use. I feel like that's what it is. And consistency. Like you really need to be consistent with using things to see some sort of progress on it. But yeah, it's commitment. Commitment. This is why I really think hard and think about the things that I want to pan because I am committed, but I also do let myself slide. So I also have that. Could you share some tips to work with colorful eyeshadows? Oh, okay. So what I would say, because I'm taking this from my own personal experience, is find a formula that is easy for you to work with. And that has to do with how you apply your makeup and how much of the makeup you wanted to show. For instance, for me, I started out with like Beach Cosmetics Old School, Coastal Scents Old School. NYX at the time had the colorful stuff, and then Urban Decay was like my high end at the time. And honestly, you guys, my thing is, if you're not comfortable wearing color out, do it at night. Before you take off your actual makeup, play around. Before you wash your face, do your skincare, play around. I know it might sound wasteful to some, but honestly, that's how I did it. That's how I learned how to do a wing liner. That's how I learned to put on lashes. It's just, I would practice right before I would wash my face, and I would put on my skincare. I would just play around. And then I would start to see different techniques on my eyes. I would check to see what I liked, what colors went well with me. See, look, I'm a mess. See how messy it is? Now, and then I buff it all in. The messes that I would make, it's just a trial and error. And I would, like, if you're going to start out, I would start out with an inexpensive, colorful brand. Like, I know that some people don't like Colourpop, but Colourpop could be an option. Beach Cosmetics is another option. There's a lot of indie brands that sell singles that you could try out that way, but I would say just play around, see what you like, see what formulas you can work with well, because there are formulas that I feel like are difficult to work with for beginners, and then there's some that are really, really good for beginners where the pigment isn't so strong, where you can get away with a light wash. You can build it up if you want to. You can do it as an accent to your eye look. So those are my tips. Like, find the formula you like. Don't spend an arm and a leg at first. Do you, like, as far as colors that you like, you got to find your own thing. I try to be very thorough when it comes to reviews that I do, because I want you to know whether it's a formula that I feel like it's for beginners or not. Because some formulas are difficult to work with in the beginning, especially if even bouncing your brush into the product gives you so much product and you're not comfortable with it. It could be very difficult. So a few of those brands I would say is like Beach Cosmetics, I would say Colourpop, singles, like indie brand singles, Smashbox, when they come out with colorful eyeshadows, it's very sheer and buildable. I think they do it well. Who else? Makeup Geek would have been another one, but I'm just trying to dry my face before I get to my eyebrows, even though they don't need that much work. But you guys know it's still got to get done. I think I am about to be done with this brow gel that's been lingering now for almost 2 years, which now I gotta go get another one. Next question. How did your love for makeup begin? Guys, my mom was a single mom for a while, so my aunt lived with us and my cousins. So both my mother and my aunt love makeup, especially my aunt. My aunt was a makeup artist for a long time. She did my makeup for my wedding. She did my makeup for my graduation. She's done my friends' makeup. I mean, she has worked on a lot of people and knows a lot. Like, she now doesn't do it anymore. She's officially like done. But she was the one that I would see my mom do her makeup, but it was more my aunt that would like use me as her guinea pig when it came to makeup. She would try out, like she would get those free things when she would work at makeup counters. And she would test them out on me because I'd be the only girl. She at the time she didn't have a daughter old enough. My cousin is 5 years younger than me. So she would test it out on me. And I remember one time she put on bright orange lipstick on me. I was trying to see if it matched my skin tone. Like, she would just play around with makeup on me, and I actually enjoyed it. She was the one that influenced a lot of my makeup and beauty things, like me grooming my own brows, being able to see other people's shape of brows, seeing other people's shape of eyes or skin tone, that kind of thing. Like, she taught me a lot. So I would put the influence more on my aunt than anything. She was, I mean, you know how you see these videos of people like makeup collections and they're massive? Yeah, she was probably the queen of that. She started that way before YouTube was a thing. I remember when she was moving out of a house one time, and I was like, I was probably about 18 or 19, and we had to help her move out, and we went through her bathroom drawers full of makeup. Drawers. I mean, we had to grab a trash bag full of makeup because she had so much makeup. She was the one that started it all, at least in my life. So when I would see these makeup collections on YouTube, like, it didn't faze me because I saw hers. We saw hers, and let me tell you, she's the one that introduced me to a lot of brands too, like the higher end brands. I remember getting things from like Bobbi Brown and Clarins and Estee Lauder and Lancome. Like, those were the brands I started using first. I didn't start out in the drugstore. I started out high end, and not because I purchased them, but because she did, and she would give them to me. So I started out higher end, all because of her. So that's where my love for makeup, and I can see it. Like, my oldest likes it, but she's like me. She likes it, but she's very reserved, and that's how I was. But my youngest, oh my goodness, we bought her like pretend makeup, and the mirror broke, and she's been out of shape like this past week. And she keeps reminding me, Mommy, you told me you were going to buy me my makeup. You told me you were going to buy me my makeup. She loves to come in here, play around with my stuff, look at it, observe it, touch it, put it on her eyes. I mean, she's going to be the one to steal my makeup. I can tell you that right now. And she will be the one that will tell her older sister how to do her makeup because she's really into it. She's very girly, but she's a tough cookie. So that's where my love for makeup came in. Okay, next question. I know you have mentioned that you may be going back to work. Not that you aren't already working. Mom's job's never done. And YouTube also is hard, but I was wondering what field you were working into. Well, I haven't officially got in yet, so I don't want to say exactly where or what I'm doing. But I have mentioned in the past that I do have a business degree, and I did work in my field for a little over 10 years before I quit to be a stay-at-home mom and raise my kids. I'm very, very blessed, and I'm very, very thankful that Mr. Man has a wonderful job, and he understands. Like, when we first started dating, we knew very clearly that we were the ones that wanted to raise our kids. We didn't want to put them in a daycare. We didn't want strangers. Not that there's anything wrong, because my sister had to do it. You know, I understand that you got to do what you got to do. But this was like our mindset. So I knew that once we were going to start to have kids, my career was going to be at a standstill. And I wasn't going to be able to like flourish. And that's okay. Like, I never aspired to be like this CEO, CFO kind of person. That's just not me. I've never had that kind of love for money to need to have it and make more money, and that's not my personality. So I knew that eventually I would be staying home at some capacity, whether it was part-time or full-time. So with Mr. Man's job, and he's been able to expand his career, and because I've been home for so many years now, I'll be going back to work, but it's not going to be full-time. We both agree that I don't necessarily need to go back full-time, which is a blessing, because I was hesitant because my kids are still small. Not small where they still need me at all times, but small enough where I still need to be around them at times. At least my two younger ones. My older one, she's self-sufficient. But we agreed. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get my mirror. Hold on. I don't film these videos as often that I forgot this mirror. Anyway, so we agreed that I don't, unless I wanted to or I pushed for it, that's a different thing. But we agreed that I don't need to work the full 40 hours plus, because my kids still need somebody to be home when they get home from school. They're not old enough to be able to stay home. So that was where our issues were. And we honestly don't have a lot of family help. So we're on our own anyway. So I'm going to be working part-time, and it'll be, at least my anticipation, this particular job, it'll be according to when I can go in, and when I can't go in, I'll stay back. And the blessing is that before I quit my job, that's the kind of job I already had, because I had already a child that needed my attention because my oldest wasn't old enough, and then I had a newborn. So that's the kind of job I already had. But then when we were expecting our third, I knew it was going to be too much, and that's why I quit my job. It was just going to be overbearing, and I didn't want to stress myself out, and it was just too much. So that's the kind of job I'll be having now, where if I can go in on a Tuesday, I'll go in on a Tuesday. If I can go in on a Thursday, I'll go in on a Thursday. If I can go in 3 days, I'll go in 3 days. You know what I mean? Like, my goal is to at least work 2 days a week, and Mr. Man agreed with it. He goes, 2 days a week is fine. But I don't need to work full time. Eventually, I will. My thing is that there will come a point where my children will no longer need me. And I also don't want to be that type of person that after my kids leave, I have no identity, no nothing. I've never worked. I didn't do anything with my life, you kind of thing. Like, there is a point where I do enjoy the workforce. I enjoy the adult interaction, because my goodness, being a stay-at-home mom is lonely. As much as some people may not agree, it is lonely. You do have to reach out to groups, whether it's at a church, your community, your friends, because not everyone is a stay-at-home mom these days. So you're on your own, and your children need your attention so much, and you're their priority. You're there 24/7, that it is lonely. So I do realize that there will come a point where my kids will no longer need me as much, and I do want to have my own thing. And I don't want to whine and cry to Mr. Man, I'm bored, I don't know what to do with myself, I don't want to be home anymore, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to prepare myself for that day, to at least start out little by little. And maybe when my kids are adults, I'll be back full time. But for now, we are blessed financially and mentally, emotionally, everything, where I can just go part-time, and that'll be like about 2 to 3 days a week, which I'm content with. I'm happy with, because I can still run my household, because things still need to get done around the house, and be there for my kids, but still be able to feel like I contribute somewhat into the household. Not that I'm being told I don't, because that's never happened. But I feel that way because I've never not had a job. Like, this is my first time not having a job in my life. I've always worked all my life. I've always done me. And it was an adjustment for me to move to not having anything. So, yeah, that's what will be happening soon. And I'm very excited about it. Like, I'm thrilled because I get to do my own thing now. I get to have something to go to, something to look forward to and enjoy, and get out of the house for a little bit, but feel like I am still contributing in a way. And I'm very blessed that I'm able to do this, where I'm not being forced to have to go back to a 40-plus hour job not being able to figure out what to do with my kids and so on and so forth. It's such a blessing. It really is. And I'm very, very thankful. I do not take that for granted one bit. All right, here's the next question. What discontinued makeup product would you bring back if possible? Here's this question. Yes. Okay. There's a ton of discontinued product that I wish would come back. It's so sad. It's so sad. Off the top of my head though, what would I bring back? There's quite a bit of eyeshadow palettes that I wish would come back. It's so hard to think about it on the spot, but I'm pretty sure there's eyeshadows, highlighters, the blushes, the Lorac baked blushes. I wish they were still around. They're now discontinued. My It Cosmetics corrector, that has been discontinued. The NYX corrector, that has been discontinued. I wish that would come back. There's a lot because there's such a shame that things are being discontinued. The Becca products, that is so sad. I wish that Becca was still around. I think that they were amazing. Coastal Scents Z palettes were one of the best Z palettes you could get because they were heavy duty, sturdy. You got a mirror. I mean, I still have some of those because I love them. They have stood the test of time. I wish that Coastal Scents was still around and had their products, because they actually had decent products. The Colourpop discontinues so much that I can go down the list. Like, they're a good sport palette. Why did they discontinue that? I don't know. This cream shadow that I'm trying to use up, I wish was not discontinued because I would so repurchase this if I had the opportunity to do that. Say, oh, the Kat Von D eyeliners, the old school eyeliners, amazing. And I don't mean the Trooper liquid liner, I mean the actual pencil liner. What else could I say? I think that's it, you guys. My eyes are so puffy because it's so early in the morning that they haven't depuffed. Can you see that? It's so puffy under here. Guess water it is today for me. Okay, next question, you guys. I'm almost done with my makeup. Do you ever feel like the small beauty community is cliquey and creators tend to support collabs with only the same certain people that always associate with? Have you ever left out or excluded? Have I ever been left out or excluded? I think that it doesn't matter what community, you're always going to have your cliquey group, regardless of what it is. It's just, I guess, nature. I don't know what to call it, but I've noticed it, whether it's through the panning community, not as much, but there is still, like, you have your group, but they're more accepting and more, I think the panning community is more accepting and more willing to allow people into the group to become part of the group than any other group beside. I see it a lot more. But yes, I do see a lot of clickiness in any level of YouTube. It doesn't matter what it is as far as the beauty community, because you kind of, not purposely, but you kind of gravitate towards those that you want your interest, basically. So, you know, I try to have a variety. I try not to be super cliquey. Like, I try to support everyone. Have I been excluded? Yes, ma'am. Especially in the beginning of my YouTube career where I was trying to find my place and what I wanted to do. Man, people are mean. I can tell you some stories of some people that are just flaky. Some don't do videos anymore, but others that do, nasty, mean girls. I always laugh and I always say that it's like Mean Girls. But yeah, I feel like it's cliquey anywhere you go and any job you have and any hobby you have, because you tend to it's just natural that you go for those that you're interested in, but then some people take it to the next level, and that's where I don't like it. And if I do see things like that, I try to like back up, and I have done that in the past, and then the leader of the clique will act like I am the bee and completely shut me out with no questions asked. That has happened also to me, where I'm just like, I'm very, very good at reading people. I'm telling you, I'm very, very good at reading people. And I would read people and I give them the benefit of the doubt, but my intuitions were always right. And then those people didn't like it because I would see right through them. What one item would you pick for each makeup department if you could only use those items for a year? Well, this is a good question. Maybe I should do a video on this. Okay, so off the top of my head, primer. I just recently bought new primers because I haven't had some in so long. Because I'm trying to see these lines right here. Trying to fill them in for my foundations not to settle into them because I have a scar right here that's causing lines on my forehead. So I don't know about primer. Foundation, I would, for a full year, well, foundations last 6 months on me. Does that count? I would have to get 2 of them, and I'd love my Smashbox one. If I could choose one, it would be Smashbox. Powder, my Laura Mercier powder. Corrector, I am trying a new one out, so I don't know if that would be it. Concealer. I love my MAC Pro Longwear, but I haven't had it in so long. Eyebrow stuff, whatever can fill them in, honestly, because I could just get away with it. And eyeshadow would be hard. I would most likely would pick a Natasha Denona or a Viseart palette. And a large one, because that way I can get a variety of shades. Because I'd go bored. I really would go bored. For a full year, only using one, you're killing me. One eyeshadow palette, you are killing me. Blush, I can get away. I would probably choose a face palette, because I can get a variety. And then a single blush, which would be... I don't have a favorite blush, but I would most likely choose a MAC blush because they would last a while. Highlighter. What would I choose for a highlighter? And bronzer. Bronzer would be Laguna because I can use that one and not be worried about it. What else would I choose? I don't know, you guys. I would have to go through my actual collection and pick these stuff up because, oh, what am I doing? It's this thing. But yeah, I don't know. I might do a video on that one because that one is pretty tough. That's a lot of products. And this will be the last question, and then I'll hold on to the rest of them. How do you organize your single eyeshadows so that you are gravitated to use them often over palettes? Okay, so what I do with my singles is I keep them by brand. So I have them all lined up by brands, and I keep them, I have 2 sets of drawers right on my vanity, and I keep them on the left side, so I always have them to reach for. So to be honest with you, for this video, I was going to grab a bunch of singles because I was interested in using them, but I figured let me just use my Project Pan stuff since I already have it out. But what I do is I have them all by brands. And within the brands, I try to make a color story that I can reach for within those Z palettes. So I have them in there and I think about it thoroughly, put them all together, have fun with it. And then what I do is, because I realize that sometimes I don't reach for my singles, is if I am not reviewing a palette or having to reach for a palette for a specific reason for panning purposes, I will make it a point to at least once or twice a week, pick one of those 2 days, any 2 days out of the week, and incorporate some of those shadows into my looks within my Project Panning products or just on my own to incorporate them. And as you guys know, I've done my best to incorporate my single shadows in Project Pans. So my Pan those eyeshadows, they're all fair game. They are also in my whole collection Project Pan if they come up. And I try to be diligent and always remind myself that they're there. But I feel like the best thing that I've done is to keep them close to me. So they're literally at an arm's length. So then I don't forget about them. Because I noticed that palettes that are in my other the 9 drawer ones, the 9 Alex drawer ones, especially the bottom of the drawers, I tend to forget them because they're so far away from me. But the ones that are close to me in my drawers, those are the ones I reach for the most, and the ones where I'm like, oh crap, I need this kind of transition color. I'll go to my singles and pick something out of there just to get more use out of them. But it is difficult, and I have realized that I don't reach for my Z palette singles as much, so that's why I haven't been purchasing as many singles as I used to, because I know that I don't reach for them as much as I do palettes. but I try to make it easy for myself to make color stories within my Z palettes that I will enjoy and reach for. So that way it's not like all greens or all blues. I could try to make a color story within those Z palettes to entice myself to reach for them more. Let me just put on lip gloss because I don't feel like wearing a lip product today. That is it. That is my eye look today. It's very simple. This is how I've been using some of my Project Pan products just to give myself some sort of quick and easy. And let me tell you, this makeup look will take me 20 minutes if I wasn't chit-chatting with you guys. It really doesn't take me that long. And it looks put together. It looks like I did a bunch of things on my eyes and I really only used 3 shadows on my eyes. 1 powder, 2 cream. And this is what come up. And it'll stay put throughout the whole entire, oh no wait, 4 because I used an eyeliner as a base. But yeah. That is it, you guys. Thank you guys so much for submitting your questions. I still have quite a bit of questions that I did not answer. I'm going to ask again in the future and then keep these in my community tab so I can go back to them. So if I haven't hearted your questions, that means it wasn't answered, but I will hopefully answer it in a new Q&A for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching and participating in this. I hope you guys got to know me a little bit more as far as what questions you had asked me. This was a lot of fun. I enjoy these videos, but it's a little bit difficult for me to do it in the summer because I have all 3 of my kids, like I said. They're sleeping. They're probably up right now, but I don't care because they're old enough to know to go use the bathroom, brush their teeth, go downstairs. Dad's downstairs, so we is good. Thank you again for all of your support. I'll catch you guys in the videos on the screen. Until then, adios.